I found it quite interesting how you spoke about cyber warfare, and in war, we've had geography. We fight war on land, and yet now is the new war the human mind? Is that the terrain? Is that where we're working?
I think that, everyone goes, oh, people are the weakest link. I think the truth is, people are the most valuable asset, right? So if you want wealth or power, how do you accumulate that? I mean, is wealth or power monetary, is it assets? And if you want to acquire that kind of wealth, how do you do it? Well, you do it because you get more and more people to pay you money, subscribe, or believe in what you're doing, and so I think that people are a valuable asset, and therefore that makes them primed to be targeted for, those kind of tactics and techniques.
It's good to hear some positive language about the human, because often we're hearing, they're the weakest link, and do you feel this language is helpful?
I think that a lot of times, on the security side of things, I think people are willing to help and do the right thing, but often they're not given the nurturing. And obviously I've just been doing the culture and education stream for TICE here at the TICE 2019 event. And what you hear in that culture and education stream is very much, if you foster the right culture and you use positive language and you reward positive behaviours, people actually do the right thing. So that comes down to, well, actually, is it the case that people are the weakest link, or is it that we just need to invest a bit more in culture and education so that people feel really rewarded and encouraged to do the right things and to have the right behaviours?
What do you think?
I certainly, in my experience of auditing tens of organisations, have found that where the culture is, the security culture and the data protection culture is strong, and they foster those kind of positive behaviours, they have much more robust and secure environments. So yeah, I definitely think it works. I think you will always find, let's say, vulnerable individuals, but you get less of them in those kind of environments where the culture is strong.
And if there was one threat that you could name right now, which is the greatest threat out there, the security threat, what would that be?
Botnets.
Botnets?
Yeah, well, actually, I think there's a lot we can do to manage our own security, right, in environments we control, or even when we're using cloud services and these kind of things. There's a lot out there, especially on the internet, and there's a lot of internet dependencies, and there are a lot of proliferation of Internet of Things devices, and many of them have very, very cheap and not very effective security, which makes them ripe to be taken over by botnets. And these little botnets may seem like very, minor and inconsequential, but when they can effectively fire a distributed denial of service or DDoS cannon of garbage data anywhere they choose, with enough volume to potentially take down major services, I think we haven't seen that happen yet because there isn't the profit in it. So if you're a cyber criminal, you're not necessarily going to get all that much money from doing that. But if you're a nation state, and if you're those kind of things, then, and I think we haven't seen what they're capable of yet. And I think that we might see that at some point in the future if there's increased tension, cyber war and so forth.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how close are we to seeing that?
I have no idea, because I think that isn't the barrier isn't the technology or the technical capability. I think it's more the kind of political and tensions between nation states and so forth.
And what's the solution?
Yeah, I think it is basically, to some extent, logic and common sense. I mean, there's certainly a lot of value in being internet connected and leveraging new technologies, but I think there's also a requirement to do it responsibly, especially where technologies can be life critical, so they could cause damage or loss of human life if they're used irresponsibly or taken offline. And I think in those events, what we need to do is make sure that technologies are deployed with enough contingency and security to know that events that have a reasonable probability of happening have contingency, so that in those events they can't cause catastrophic consequences.
Thank you so much, Raef, for your time.
Thanks, Anna.